We got you live on YouTube. All right, turning this mic over to you, Robert.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I sound like Elvis. We had a really good session this morning, and Lynn is the only person here that was here for the morning one as well. So Cherie and I thought it might be fun just to do a rehash of this morning. But if I could get somebody to read for us, and I want to thank everybody that's here, Brooklyn, Savannah, McKinley, Dub, and Felicity. Welcome back.
Wave at the man at the grocery store.
Sorry.
That's right. I do that too. I did that about 3 times this morning. Anyway, if I could get someone to read the intro, and we'll go from there, and we'll switch readers as we need to.
I'll read.
Thank you, dear. Appreciate it.
Sure. I don't know how long I'll be able to. My throat tightens up, but okay.
Okay.
I am only here. Good day, ACIM gather. Let's open with this from the course. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent He who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. Amen.
Thank you. You can continue.
Because there is so much to be covered today, I am going to dispense with any music. For those visiting for the first time, the reason I do not speak much is that I lost my voice to the ravages of treatment for throat cancer. Others read for me, and I am grateful for both. You have probably noticed that the list of essays grows longer each week. We may read up to 3 essays on any given Monday, but I write an average of 2 or more per day. Wow. All my newest essays are posted on my Facebook page almost daily and cross-posted to several other ACIM Facebook groups. Join and friend me to read the essays while the ink is still drying. Thank you. And got that.
I'll put all these links in the chat later.
Okay. I want to share a quick update about my. For a long time, I've given many titles away for free. I did it with good intentions. I wanted people to read them, enjoy them, and hopefully find something meaningful in them. But I've realized that giving them away sends the wrong message. It implies the work has little or no value, and that isn't true. These books took years of experience, study, and care to create. They matter to me, and I hope they matter to the people who read them. Putting a real price on them reflects that value. Someone could take over for me. I'd appreciate it.
Cherie or Sharon, either one. Or McKinley.
Okay.
Okay, McKinley, go ahead. Thank you.
Sure. They matter to me, and I hope they matter to the people who read them. Putting a real price on them reflects that value. Because of that, I'm bringing almost all free promotions to an end. The exceptions are the 3 new novels. The current discounted prices will stay in place until Christmas. After that, the books will return to their original pricing. The books will remain available on Amazon and through my website, and I'll continue to share thoughts and excerpts on social media. I appreciate everyone who has supported my writing, and I'm grateful for those who have taken the time to read, comment, and reach out. Your interest means more than you know. If you've read any of my books and found something meaningful in them, I'd be grateful if you'd take a moment to leave a review. Reviews truly matter. They help other readers decide if a book is right for them, and they help authors like me reach people who might never find the book otherwise. On Amazon, just go to the books page, scroll down to customer reviews, click write a customer review, choose a star rating, and share a few honest thoughts. On Goodreads, search for the book, click write a review, select your rating, and add a brief comment or reflection. Your review doesn't need to be long or polished. A few sincere sentences make a real difference, and I deeply appreciate every one of them. Thank you for understanding this change and for being part of this ongoing journey.
And you can skip that part. It's just saying that the books are on sale between now and Christmas. And I think what I'm going to do you want to take over here?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I'm going to have Cherie read from here unless Sharonda wants to jump in at some point in time. Okay.
As you may have heard, I finished a second novel. The Typewriter is the story of an old man who finds a mystical typewriter in his attic that actually reads and types his thoughts and inspirations with a surprise ending that introduces a sequel. I will put the link in the chat. For those who have asked about the sequel to The Typewriter, The Boy Who Found the Typewriter, I realized that trying to summarize the story wouldn't capture what this next novel is really about. The sequel isn't just a continuation of events. It's a continuation of the inner journey that the first book began. Rather than offer a synopsis, I want to share the sequel epilogue. It reflects the heart of the sequel far better than any synopsis could. The epilogue speaks in the first person, and it gives a quiet glimpse into the deeper direction this next book is taking. Let me share that with you now. And here is the link to The Boy Who Found the Typewriter. Epilogue, the key that still speaks. Writing this novel became its own kind of conversation, not with a machine of ink and metal, but with the same voice the boy discovered, the one that answers only when we are honest, the one that teaches without claiming authority, the one that waits patiently beneath the noise of our lives. As I wrote, I found myself listening to the typewriter, regardless of the name you or I give it. Some call it intuition. Some call it spirit. Some call it truth, speaking softly through the cracks. I have made mistakes in my life. I have taken detours, clung to identities, defended illusions, and forgotten what matters. But the typewriter has never judged any of that. It simply exposed what was real and waited for me to recognize it. Every chapter of this story allowed me to reflect on my own growth. Slow, uneven, beautiful in its incompleteness. I discovered that clarity is not something we achieve. It is something we allow. And willingness, once given, begins to undo everything that is not true. The learning never ends, but there comes a time when the lessons are learned deeply enough that they no longer need to be repeated. A time when the mind grows quiet, a time when the heart remembers its own direction, a time when the journey that looked outward turns inward again. And when that time comes, we can finally return home, not as a place we travel to, but as a recognition of what we never left. The end of one journey is the beginning of another. Just as the boy set the typewriter down and stepped forward, I close these pages with gratitude and anticipation. A new chapter waits. A new willingness forms. A new beginning unfolds in silence. And somewhere in that quiet, the typewriter speaks again. You are still listening, and I am.
So that tells you a little bit about the book at the same time. And at this point, I mean, Cherie's been reading, but she shared something with me last night that I thought it would be interesting to have her share again today, or share with you guys. So if you want to continue, Mike, go ahead.
Yes. First of all, even though Bob suggested that I start reading the one about the typewriter being found, I'm stubborn as well, and decided I would start with the boy who found the typewriter. And I started reading last night, and Bob had gone to bed about 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock came, and 10 o'clock came, and so on. It was almost midnight when Bob came out and said, "Are you going to come to bed tonight?" I said, "Well, not until I finish, because I can't stop reading this book." And it's so different from so many things that Bob has written over the last few years. And I was not prepared for it. But as I read, I said, "Bob, how soon can you get me a printed copy of this book?" And Bob said, "Well, not for a week or so." And I said, "Shoot, I'd really like to have one to send to Texas to my grandson, who's 19, just started his first year of college, and is struggling overwhelmingly in so many ways. He worked so hard to get the recognition and the funding and so on to get into the college he wanted to go to. And now he can't figure out which end is up in trying to keep on with the work that's there, and what he thinks that he owes back to family and to teachers and so on. And I said, "Bob, what was so interesting and so overwhelming to me last night as I read this book is that it was written for a youngster. It was written to a youngster. It was not written for 60 or 70-year-old adults. And it appeals to them to look at what they are going through, what life is like, what are the challenges that they are facing and dealing with right now, that society and their friends and their enemies and everyone else puts on them. The good thing is, Bob said, "Well, we can get a, what's it called?
PDF.
A PDF file that we could send to him that he could begin to read." But this was just so amazing, and coming in such a different direction that there was nothing about the normal discussions that we have here every time that we get together. There was nothing about a touch of miracles, but it absolutely challenged him to search out what was going on around him and to find a way to be able to face life and to become the person that he wants to be. So I just share that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
The other thing, don't go away. Look in the chat because the boy who found the typewriter is available in Kindle, and today it's free. So if you go to that link today, you can get a free copy. Also, Cherie also finally read the original book, which is the typewriter. Do you want to share a little bit about that too?
Well, I think for most of this group, you could read the typewriter first. And again, it's very different from the essays that Bob has been writing. The trial broke into this and with some different characters and different players, if you will. But the typewriter, without giving into what I did earlier today, it was truly Bob searching out himself in terms of where is all of this coming from? How is this information coming to me and going through my fingers? Whether it's a laptop or a typewriter doesn't really make much difference. But it's a very telling book, and I think that you'll find out some interesting things about your comrade here. Okay.
Thank you, Cherie. And because of what we're talking about, I did pick one essay that I would like to share if somebody wants to read it. And then after that, if we still have the time, we can pick any others, or we can just talk. So anyway, let me get this one up and rolling. Does anybody want to say anything? Yes, Sharanda, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Was Cherie reading from the boy who found the typewriter?
Yes, that's the tail end of the boy. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
yeah, thank you. Good question. So let me bring this up and see who wants to read. I'll just make it a little bigger. And center. Sharanda, you want to read? And somebody else can take over if you get tired.
Yep, let me get us started. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome. It's good to be with you all. Listening beyond the page. Years ago, someone told me that my gift was applying course ideas to real life situations and problems. At the time, I didn't know what to do with that observation. I wasn't trying to teach anything formally, and I certainly didn't see myself as someone with a special role. I was simply trying to understand my own experience and make sense of what the course was pointing toward, not in theory, but in practice. Only later did I begin to see that this comment wasn't about talent or authority. It was about translation. It was about taking ideas that often feel abstract and letting them meet ordinary human moments where fear, confusion, guilt, and love actually show up. That realization eventually led to a deeper concern. If we truly accept the idea that we are all teachers of God, then the classroom cannot be limited to familiar language, familiar audiences, or familiar formats. Growth does not happen in comfort zones. That's a terrific line. Growth does not happen in comfort zones. Comfort zones are where understanding settles into habit, where language becomes shorthand, and where insights risk turning into slogans. Stepping outside that zone is uncomfortable by definition, but it may be the only place where real communication happens. This concern became one of the quiet drivers behind my writing. I wasn't interested in repeating ideas for people who already agreed with them. I wanted to explore how these principles live and breathe in places where they are not expected and sometimes not even welcomed. That intention shaped 31 Flavors of Fear. The title alone made some people uneasy, which was not accidental. The book was never meant to instill fear. It was written to clarify it. Fear, as the Course teaches, is not the problem itself, but the symptom of a deeper confusion. The distinction between form and content is easy to discuss, but difficult to see consistently in daily life. The distinction between form and content is easy to discuss, but difficult to see consistently in daily life. Fear wears many disguises. It can look reasonable, justified, even protective. By naming its many flavors, I was not multiplying fear, but stripping away its camouflage. When fear is recognized as form rather than content, it loses its authority. It becomes something to observe rather than obey. Still, essays and reflections tend to circulate within a fairly narrow audience. At some point, I had to admit that much of what I was writing was being read by people already fluent in the language of the Course. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does raise an honest question. If the ideas point to something universal, why confine them to a specialized community? Why keep preaching to the choir? That question opened the door to fiction.
Sorry.
Novels offered a different kind of access. Stories allow ideas to be encountered rather than explained. They invite readers to recognize themselves without being told what to think. Fiction bypasses intellectual defenses in a way that essays often cannot. It doesn't argue, it shows. This is so very cool. Cool is like not what I wanted to say. This is really something, Bob. The trial grew out of this impulse. I wanted to illustrate the difference between form and content in a way that felt lived rather than taught. The courtroom setting was not chosen for drama alone. It allowed archetypes to take the stand. Fear, guilt, innocence, and judgment could be seen operating as patterns of thought rather than personal flaws. Readers didn't need to know anything about the Course to understand what was happening. They only needed to recognize how the mind prosecutes itself and how easily it mistakes accusation for truth. The setting was form. Movement toward clarity was content. With the typewriter, the focus shifted again. This story was not about theology or doctrine. It was about listening. One of the most persistent misconceptions about spiritual guidance is that it requires a special environment, special training, or special status. The novel challenges that idea by placing the voice for God in an unexpected object and in ordinary life. The message is simple but easily missed. Guidance is not rare, willingness is. I would pass this off to someone right now, if I may, Bob.
Sure. Kelly, I can give it to you or give it back to Sharon.
Yeah, it's okay. I can do it, Bob, for a little
Sure,
bit.
thank you.
Sure. The typewriter does not speak because it is magical. It speaks because someone is willing to listen without agenda. That distinction matters. The story is not about where the voice comes from, but about the quiet readiness that allows it to be heard. The setting could have been anything. The point was that truth is not confined to sacred spaces or approved language. That same intention guided The Boy Who Found the Typewriter. This book pushed even further away from overt spiritual framing. It was important to me that course principles could be shared without religious tone or instructional posture. Young readers, especially, are sensitive to preaching. They don't resist truth. They resist being talked down to. By letting the story carry the ideas implicitly, the book demonstrates that clarity does not require labels. Love does not need branding. Insight does not depend on vocabulary. Across all of these projects, the thread is the same. Content matters, form serves. When form becomes the focus, the message is lost. When content leads, form becomes flexible, creative, and responsive. Looking back, I can see that none of these books were written to persuade, they were written to invite. They were attempts to meet readers where they are rather than insisting they come to a particular place, language, or tradition. That to me is what it means to teach by extension rather than instruction. If there is a conclusion to be drawn, it is not about writing at all. It is about willingness. The ideas we value most do not ask us to defend them. They ask us to live them, and living them sometimes means letting go of familiar forms so that content can speak for itself. The voice does not need our protection, it needs our attention, and it can be heard anywhere by anyone willing to pause, listen, and trust that meaning is not confined to the places we once thought it was.
Thank you, Michaela.
You're welcome.
Would anyone like to comment? Okay, if not, there's oops, too far. There's any other number of essays that we can read here if you'd like to. If somebody just wants to pick a title and we'll go from there, we've got enough time.
I kind of would like to read The Unreality of Death because, uh, especially since I used to live in California, we've had, it's publicized, today. Well, I grew up watching All in the Family and Rob Reiner and then the opera singer, his son also,
Sure, no problem.
The Unreality of Death kind of, because that's kind of hitting me from this.
Yeah, it was really shocking to hear about the guy from All in the Family. Okay, there you
And his wife.
go. And his wife, yeah.
Yeah.
That was awful. Do you actually want to read it, McKenna, or did you want to just pick it?
Oh, oh, sure, I'll read it.
Okay.
The Unreality of Death. Most people move through life carrying an unspoken belief that death is the final authority. It's woven into the way we talk, plan, and fear. We watch bodies change, weaken, and eventually stop. We lose people we love and feel our own vulnerability rise whenever we imagine our last breath. Because the senses report only what is physical, we tend to accept their report as the whole truth. Yet beneath all of this, another message keeps trying to surface. A Course in Miracles suggests that death is not a fact about life, but an interpretation of a temporary state. It invites us to look directly at the belief in death and see that the one who observes the changes cannot be defined by them. The Course is gentle around
Right.
the, the Course is gentle around this topic. It does not argue that the body goes on forever. It simply refuses to let the body tell the story of who we are. When it reminds us the body is a limit on love, from the text chapter 18, the implication is clear. Love is our nature, and what is natural to us cannot be housed, defined, or ended by something that is itself temporary. A limit cannot contain the limitless. A shell cannot become the identity of what it holds. If death seems frightening, it is because we have accepted the idea that our identity lives inside the body and disappears when the body fails. But that belief collapses the moment we step back and observe ourselves thinking. Something in us is watching. Something in us is aware of the body, the emotions, and the passing of time. That awareness is not aging. It is not weakening. It has been present through every stage of our lives, unchanged by the physical changes that come and go. When the Course tells us nothing real can be threatened, it invites us to consider that the part of us that watches is the real part and therefore cannot be threatened, not even by what we call death. This perspective doesn't require blind faith. Most of us have experienced moments of quiet presence where our sense of self expands beyond the body. It may happen when we sit with someone we love, when we feel a surge of gratitude, or when we sense a peace that seems to come from somewhere beyond thought. These moments reveal a truth we often forget. What we are is not confined to a physical form. The body, according to the Course, is a communication device and a learning tool. It has a beginning and an end because learning itself inside a dream requires form. But the learner, the mind, does not begin and does not end. When the Course says there is no death, the Son of God is free, from the workbook lesson 163, it is not denying that the body ceases to function. It is saying that freedom belongs to the mind, and the mind cannot die because it was not born. What was created eternal remains eternal. This is easier to understand when we look at our own experience of identity. Over the course of a lifetime, we change roles again and again. Child, student, partner, parent, caregiver, friend. Each role arises, plays out, and falls away. Yet through all of these changes, something constant remains. That steady, observing presence is not fragile. It cannot disappear. When the body reaches its limit, and drops away, it does not take that presence. It does not take that presence with it. In fact, the Course goes one step further. It suggests that what we call death is simply another shift in perception within the dream of time. The dreamer does not disappear when a dream image dissolves. The mind that believed it was confined to a particular body simply continues until it finally recognizes that the entire experience of separation was a misunderstanding. Through forgiveness and willingness, the mind wakes up to its true nature. Understanding this changes the way we live now. If we identify with something that must die, fear becomes our constant companion. We protect, defend, and brace ourselves against loss. But when we identify with something that cannot die, fear loosens its hold. Life becomes less about survival and more about expression. Decisions become clearer because we stop bargaining with imagined threats. Love becomes easier to extend because we no longer imagine that giving takes something away from us. This view also softens the experience of grief. Grief is real in the sense that we feel it deeply, but the loss we feel is not the loss of the person. It is the loss of the form through which we communicated. The relationship itself does not end. We continue to feel their presence, guidance, and connection because mind relates to mind, not to flesh. Many people sense this long after someone has passed. The Course would say they are not imagining it. They are simply experiencing the ongoing relationship without the interference of the body. There is a deeper comfort here. If death were real, then love would be temporary. That idea alone tells us something is wrong with the way we see things. We do not intuitively feel that love ends. We feel in our best moments that love is the most endearing thing we have ever known. And if love is what we are, then we must be endearing as well. The Course states this directly. What is real cannot be threatened, and what is unreal does not exist. And that's paraphrased from the introduction in the text. If something ends, it was not the real part of us. This is not an argument meant to dismiss the pain of losing someone. Instead, it enlarges the framework in which loss occurs. It opens a path toward trust. It reminds us that endings are not what they appear to be. The forms change, the connection does not. The body stops, the mind continues. The story closes, the life beneath the story remains untouched. When we accept even a little of this, something in us relaxes. The fear that surrounds the idea of death begins to fade. We stop treating life as a countdown and begin to see it as an unfolding. Every moment becomes more meaningful, not because it is slipping away, but because it is a chance to remember what is permanent in us. The Course is not asking us to deny the world. It is asking us to reinterpret it. When we look at the body with gentleness instead of fear, we see it as a temporary helper rather than a fragile identity. When we look at others without the lens of time, we see souls rather than aging forms. When we release the belief that death defines us, life becomes lighter, more generous, and more peaceful.
There
In
you go.
the end, the unreality of death is not a doctrine. It is a recognition. It dawns slowly. It grows with each moment of forgiveness, each quiet willingness to trust, each reminder of our shared innocence. It grows as we shift from fear to love, from form to essence, from temporary stories to the truth that has never changed. What we are cannot die, and learning that is the beginning of real living. We,
Thank you, Michaela.
that's the end. Thank you, Robert. It was
Thank
beautiful.
you. And Brooklyn, I would love to hear the poem. You want to share it?
Twist my arm.
Consider it twisted.
You know, the title is the title is Joey, comma, Rafi's Miriam. Of course, okay. Beyond story, I knew you before. Then in flesh, we met as one. Conflicted tales of the norm, we loved beyond all expected. We toasted now, always to be, and in now it always is. Beyond bodies, grace is here. Within formless veins, we are together.
Thank you very much. Beautiful.
So I should have put my Joey and Rafi's Miriam, but because they're definitely still with us.
Yeah.
That doesn't take that away.
No. Actually, that doesn't take anything real away. Michaela,
I love how you brought up forgiveness because uh, Ken always says that it all our experiences are opportunity for forgiveness. So even now we're hearing things more rapidly in the news and the internet of what's going on. It's always been there, but it's kind of like Ken says that it could be that gold star video, and that's the one where everyone comes to forgiveness. So we have to look at that as an opportunity of forgiveness and the unreality of death. Thank you, Robert.
well, one of the exciting things about today in general is that it's offering so many opportunities that need forgiveness. Anybody else want to share? Well, I have to tell you, I'm just about wiped out. So with 15 minutes to go, I'm happy to quit now. And I thank you all for coming. And I'll see you again, God willing, next Monday. And of course, every day in between that Lynn is working. Lynn, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. What a wonderful hour. I'm grateful for everybody who showed up and grateful for you and Cherie, and God bless us all. And we'll go ahead and close out. Thank you all so much.
Thank
Love
you.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Bob.
Love us. Big hugs, everybody.
Big hugs. Love you too. Bye all.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.